There's been yet another drama in Parliament with Labor MP Willie Jackson thrown out of the debating chamber.
As you would expect.
It comes as suspensions were handed down to 3 Te Pati Maori MPs for their part in the controversial haka performed last year, and more fallout from that C-bomb. Here's political editor Mikey Sherman with the...
It is interesting because the point that they're about to raise is not just about leaving their seats. They talk about threatening behaviour. They talk about was there a use of a gun? And I mean, I obviously am not saying I agree with them, but you can see how they have made a bit more of this than probably it is. Like it's one of those things, again, I like to put it this way. If you were debating this and the side you had to take was what they did was inappropriate, you could make the argument, even if it's not necessarily true. So yeah, we'll see what they've got to say though.
Latest.
The latest iteration of Parliament's culture clash.
No, I'm not sitting down. I'm not sitting down. I'm not.
Now, former police, the guy who looks after the police union, isn't that Greg O'Connor? Is that right? Am I right? And just look at those. Look at that teapot. Look at that face. It's like I'm not used.
He's
to
all
saying,
handles.
I'm not
almost
used to
no
people
spout.
saying no to me.
No, I'm not sitting down. I'm not sitting down.
Look at the teapot.
I'm not sitting down.
Willie Jackson today staring down Assistant Speaker Greg O'Connor.
You don't walk over our kaupapa as it suits you, Mr. Speaker.
Leave the house, Mr. Jackson.
It does very much look like Dad telling off the kids, though, doesn't it? Get in your room, Mr. Peters. Get in your room, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Speaker.
Leave the house, Mr. Jackson.
Booted out after refusing to speak directly to a treaty settlement bill, attacking the government instead.
Leave the house, Mr. Jackson.
I think I made a mistake not sitting down. I should have sat down earlier.
I wonder if, look, facetious time, well, maybe immature time. I wonder if any MP's ever gone, you know, it's getting a bit late. I really could do with getting out of here. No, I refuse to sit down. I will not sit down. Yeah, that's what Gary's saying. It ex-cop stance and attitude. Yeah, there you go.
He would have given me a warning.
And much more than a warning for Te Pati Maori MPs over this infamous haka performed in the House last year. After a lengthy trial by Parliament's Privileges Committee, the MPs are set to be suspended.
Yes.
Because I did think, why is Hannah only getting 7 days while the other guys are getting 21? And I don't think it's actively said, but perhaps what they're saying, and Whānau, you know I don't agree with this, but I think what they're saying is they felt that the two leaders were more threatening. I don't see it, but... And maybe because of their seniority, they hold a bigger responsibility, maybe. But we'll listen to Crusher Collins, who I think officially has crushed 0 cars.
Set to be suspended.
Yes, because it's unprecedented behaviour, and we don't want to see it again.
Is it fair?
That's a very fair result. It is a shocking behaviour.
Pati Maori has treated the whole process with utter contempt.
I agree. I agree. It's a little bit like having Marama say yesterday, they want to tax the rich. And the Greens are going, yeah. Yes, they've treated the whole thing with utter contempt. You are correct.
Rawiri Waititi and Debbie Ngarewa-Packer face a 21-day recommended suspension. Hana Rāwhiti Maipi Clark faces 7 days. As their fate was read,
these punishments recommended by the committee are very severe and are unprecedented in this Parliament.
The 3 Te Pati Maori MPs were nowhere to be seen, though earlier in the day, Rawiri Waititi signalled their pending fate.
I find it difficult today, as this will be the final speech before I am also ejected from this House.
It was ruled they acted in a manner that could have the effect of intimidating a member of the House, adding it was particularly unacceptable for Debbie Ngarewa-Packer to appear to simulate firing a gun, adding it was...
This idea of it could have had the effect of intimidating a member of the House. Remember when Julianne Genter went off on the National MP and they were talking about intimidation? And my question was, why did no one go to that MP and go, Did you feel intimidated by that 5'6" small lady shouting at you? Because to be intimidating, or someone has to be intimidated. I mean, acting in a manner that could have the effect of intimidating a member of the House. Well, if it did have that effect, okay, that's one thing. Because this comes down to the question of definitions of words, and we know how much the right loves that. Because what could be intimidating to one person may not be to another. So how do you spare that line? Like how do you decide what it is, and then how do you rule on something that possibly could have been something that might have been thought of to be something else? Do you know? It feels a strange way to rule.
Yeah, it's because it's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's because it's absolute nonsense. From woe to go, the reporting on this has been woeful. The behaviour of the Privileges Committee on this has been woeful. There seems to be this disconnect that we have in this country where Māori do something Māori. You know, they do a haka, they show some of their tikanga, all of that sort of thing, and we kind of go, oh, how dreadfully uncivilized. We're more evolved than this. And then the rest of the world sees this shit and goes, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like, there's this, why don't we value Māori the way that the rest of the world seems to be quite happy to do? Why do we have to sit in this restrictive British form of parliament and not realise that something like a haka at an important moment be recognised? Like, I talked about the reporting, like people going, oh, well, you know, it's because they didn't follow their process and they didn't cast their vote. They just went straight to the haka. The first words out of Hannah's mouth were, our 6 votes are against this bill. Yeah. And then she went into the haka. But people that don't know Te Reo, like I don't, I had to be told, but the translation is up on the Stuff website for you to check out. I believe also the Parliamentary TV got it as well. But there's columnists now writing columns saying that it's because the haka was disrespectful. Now, we know that that's not true. It's because they left their seats. It's nothing to do with the haka.
Yeah, because
they
people
did cast their vote.
Well, just so people who didn't hear us talking about this before, there were other MPs in their seats doing the haka, nothing. The only difference is they left their seats. So that boils down to that's the only thing it can be about.
Yeah. And then the result of this, the suspensions themselves. Now, I'm going to hat tip to whoever I saw this mentioned on Facebook, I think it was. It's not an original thought by me, although I wish it was because it's so good. What better illustration do we have that Māori get harsher punishments than white people than this?
Yeah, than Parliament doing
right?
it. Yeah.
Previously, the longest suspension was 3 days. Rob Muldoon got that for reflecting on the speaker. I don't know what the fuck that means.
That's a sex
but he
term,
did
isn't it?
And it was bad, and he had to go home for 3 days. This is almost a month around the budget that the people that voted for Te Pati Maori don't have a representative in the House to ask questions about the budget or to put their views forward. It is insane that this is where they've landed. It is so far out the gate of any comparison to any other suspensions in the House. I can't see it as anything else.
In saying that as well, because we're on the same page. In fact, it's been me who's been saying for the whole time, this is just about them leaving their seats. You can't probably have, this happens all the time. People aren't aware of it because it happens in a nice way. Poor Kari Kariana breaks out when they pass an amazing bill. When the same-sex marriage was passed through, the whole place erupted into song. That's not the norm. That's outside the protocol. No one sees about it, So you can also go, it's the way that it was done, as you say, Chewie, Māori do something Māori, and the establishment goes, yeah, we can't have that. And saying that, reflecting on the actual process of Parliament, you couldn't have that happening every single bill, every single day. So where do you draw the line on protocol as well for going through. Like, this is too much, especially because this is like the first time and the only time it's happened. Maybe it was an appropriate time. How do you also keep the House running without that? I mean, I don't care if that happens every bill myself, but I'm also a realist, and I know that, you know, things have to move along, and they couldn't happen every time. But maybe that's the point. It doesn't happen every time. So it's a different version on the other part of the spectrum from Pōkari Kariana after the when Treaty Principles got voted down as well. There was Waiata there as well. There was a breakout of song. It's not protocol. It's not the way it's supposed to do, but that was okay because it was nice stuff. When it feels like it's being angry stuff, that's when we go, you know. There used to be a way that people used to talk about people with more melanin in their skin, and the word uppity was used along with some other words about them. Maybe they're complaining about the people with more melanin when they're a bit more uppity, but when they're lovely and soft and singing, then we'll join in with the breaking of protocol. Is that okay?
I also take issue with Collins' use of the words, I think she said civilized or civility or something like that. We've got to conduct business in the House with civility. The implication is that Te Pati Maori aren't civilized, and I think that's, maybe it was a poor choice of words. Maybe she meant something by it. I just don't really know how to cut it, but it did jump out at me as like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. This is we're only 2 minutes into a 5.5 minute interview, but remember there's 3 stories in here.
It's particularly unacceptable for Debbie Ngarewa Packer to appear to simulate firing a gun.
Now, I've watched this several times. What Debbie does is she like if I used one finger and pointed at you two and went like this, like if I was like when I could say, you know, stuff you and went like this, stuff you. You know, there's a bit of a flick there. But the way it looks like to me, if Debbie does that with a flick with 2 fingers, so they've made the case that was like this, and that was like a, you know, like a recoil. But if you think about it with one finger, when you flick your hand at someone to point it, I think that's what she does. You can see it here now if you want to watch it. And that's how they've interpreted. So Debbie's at the back there behind the Rawiri. Just watch your hands.
Seemingly aimed at the author of the Treaty Principles Bill, David
there?
Seymour.
It's your assertion.
But like I say, you know, what are you doing?
That's a real line call. I would personally say that out of anybody in the House, that Nicole McKee would be able to recognise a gun.
Well, maybe that's why she's so chill. If she's saying, I've had this normal Saturday, me having a gun pointed in my face, no big deal.
David Seymour.
It's your assertion that you weren't making a gun or shooting.
It's my truth. There would only be mischief saying that if I did would be out there to point a gun at anybody.
Yeah, she tried to make gun shooting gestures and then she tried to lie about it. But look, I mean, these people, you can't take them seriously.
Speaking of shots fired yesterday,
Yeah, how do we take that?
These people? Jesus.
Speaking of shots.
There would only be mischief saying that if I did would be out there to point a gun at anybody.
Yeah, she tried to make gun shooting gestures and then she tried to lie about it. But look, I mean, these people, you can't take them seriously.
Let's unpack all of that.
Okay,
she tried to make gun shooting gestures. David, she either did or she didn't. You were right there. Could you not tell? You can't seem to pick between them right now. She either did or she didn't. You know, then call her a liar and then utter these people. Wow, what a soundbite.